We begin this momentous occasion with a very, very distinguished panel of visionaries. I'm so excited to introduce all of them to you. And I'm so inspired by the experience that they all bring to the table. So first, joining this esteemed panel of dignitaries is Ms. Chitra Datye, Vice President and Global Delivery Head at Capgemini. With over 2 decades of experience, Chitra is a shining example of leadership in action. She has driven high-quality delivery across major life science accounts and has been honored twice, not once, twice, with the prestigious Delivery Diamond Award, an accolade bestowed, remember, this is not easy to get, but this has been bestowed upon only a select few globally, and she's won it twice. How did you do it? As a change maker with Capgemini's We Care initiative, she's passionately dedicated to creating a better world and uplifting the less privileged. Her journey, and what I really love about the next two things that I'm going to tell you is I relate to it so much. Her journey is a testament to the power of mentorship, determination, and the unwavering belief that blessings double when they're shared. Isn't that awesome? They do double. Think about it. They double when they're shared. Next, I would like to invite Ms. Jyoti Narang, the board member at EduBridge. She's a seasoned business leader with over 35 years of experience, primarily in the hospitality and service industry. She's best known for her tenure as the COO at Taj Hotels, Resorts and Palaces, where she played a key role in shaping its luxury division and global marketing strategies. She has also served on various boards and advisory roles, including Nirmaya Retreats and EduBridge Learning. Currently, she's a partner at Wayfair Ventures and senior advisor at In-Store Impact Asia Fund. Welcome, Ms. Narang. Come on, everybody. And then joining us from Tata Institute of Social Sciences, we're so honored to welcome Professor Padma Sarangapani. I've been practicing to say your name right. I hope I've done it correct. From Tata Institute of Social Sciences, we're so honored. Come on, guys. Professor Padma Sarangapani, Chairperson of the Center of Excellence in Teacher Education at TIS Mumbai. With an illustrious career spanning groundbreaking projects in education and teacher development, she has been instrumental in shaping policy, pedagogy, and innovation at national and international levels. From contributing to the National Curriculum Framework to her role in the UNESCO Teacher Task Force, Professor Sarangapani's work continues to inspire and impact education systems globally. We welcome you, Professor. Now, let me introduce you to Mr. Kartik Bharat Ram, who serves as the Joint Managing Director of SRF Limited. As Joint MD, Kartik is instrumental in fostering a performance-based culture within the organization. He oversees human resources, total quality management, information technology, and corporate communications, multiple hats, with a focus on continuously enhancing organizational abilities to meet future challenges. He's a leader in fostering corporate innovation with a focus on education and sustainability. Now, Kartik's advocacy for corporate social responsibility and governance exemplifies how businesses can drive social impact. So we welcome you, Mr. Ram. Come on, now let's give everybody a huge round of applause. And to officially kickstart our journey today, may I please invite our esteemed guest to please light the lamp. Followed by them sharing their insights with us. Come on, everyone, let's give them a round of applause as they take us through the pathways to democratize digital access and create a deeper impact. Let the claps keep coming. Are you tired already? stage. Come on.
गणनायकाय गणदैवताय गणाध्यक्षाय धीमहि
Another round, another round. Very good.
गुणेशानाय धीमहि गुणातीताय गुणाधीशाय गुणप्रविष्टाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And we'd love for you to share your insights with us now. So should we start with Ms. Chitra Datye? Should we do that?
Hi everyone. Good morning. Hope you had great breakfast. It's my privilege to extend a warm welcome to all of you at this national conference on education and skilling, democratizing digital, creating pathways for impact. Did I say right?
Yes, absolutely.
We are gathered here today to address one of our most pressing challenge, right? I mean, like the way, we have this digital divide. We want to bridge this digital divide and ensure that the transformative power of technology benefits literally each and every individual across each region, wherever they belong to, and community. Let me begin by acknowledging and welcoming our esteemed dignitaries. Their leadership and insights will undoubtedly enrich our conversations over the next 2 days. I also extend my gratitude to the many thought leaders and educators, policymakers, and industry stakeholders joining us for this event. A special thanks to TIS, Tata Institute of Social Sciences, for graciously hosting this conference. Your institution has been a beacon in excellence in education and social development, and we are truly grateful for your support and partnership. In fact, I was just talking to her. Last year, I went to Mankhurd School. It was a municipal school, and the way they had come up with their projects, small kids, 5th to 7th standards, I think, the way they came up with their projects on sustainability, amazing. Huh? I mean, like the way they have developed, and I'm pretty sure your guidance, TIS guidance was very much involved there. The theme of this conference, Democratizing Digital, Creating Pathways for Impact, could not be more timely or relevant. As we navigate an era of rapid technology advancements, the way in which we teach, learn, skill ourselves are being redefined in profound ways. Technology has emerged as a transformative force, enabling innovative methods of teaching, learning, interactive platforms, AI-driven learning tools, and virtual classrooms are making education more accessible, engaging, and effective. But is it really accessible to each and every part of this nation? That itself is a question, according to me. For India, a nation with a young, dynamic population, these developments hold immense potential. Technology is equipping our students and workers with the competencies they need to thrive in an increasingly interconnected world. Initiatives such as AI-driven skill mapping, remote classrooms, and digital learning platforms are reshaping how we prepare individuals for future. Yet, we cannot ignore the stark reality of the digital divide. Millions, particularly those in marginalized and underserved communities, still lack access to technologies, digital infrastructure, digital literacy. Just to quote some numbers, right? During pandemic, I think only 30% of municipality schools got access to all these latest and greatest technologies. Whereas when it comes to all the private school, that number went to 70-80%, okay? Likewise, during again pandemic, 1 out of 4 students, okay, got the access to internet and all in rural areas. So that number still goes down to 18% or so. So we still have to do many things to bridge this gap, right? And bridging this gap is both a moral and strategic imperative. If we are to create a sustainable and inclusive society, we must ensure that the benefits of digital transformation reach every individual. Targeted interventions such as expanding affordable internet access, providing devices to students, educators, and enhancing digital literacy are critical steps towards the goal. I think quite a lot of initiatives have been taken already by government. TIS is absolutely working on so many other initiatives. So I think we need to absolutely go in the same direction to make sure each and every person gets that kind of an access to internet and latest and greatest technology. Democratizing digital access means more than just providing devices or connectivity. It is about designing systems that address diverse needs. Digital tools must cater to different languages, learning styles, and abilities to ensure no one is left behind. Equity and inclusions are the cornerstones of a truly impactful digital transformation, and they must guide every initiative we undertake. In fact, just again to quote one number, when it comes to rural part, right? I mean, like who are still, getting educated in their vernacular medium, etc. They still don't have access in, their own language to get greater and latest technology-related activities, right? So 80% of the students' base still has that issue. How do we overcome those challenges as we speak? So over the next 2 days, I urge each one of you, educators, technologists, policymakers, industry experts, to engage actively in the discussions. Share your ideas, your challenges, your thought leadership, your inspirations, aspirations. Together, I strongly feel that we can co-create solutions that address the opportunities and challenges of the digital landscape. This conference is more than a dialogue. It is a call to action. Collective action has the power to shape an educational ecosystem that is inclusive, equitable, transformative. Let's work together to create pathways for impact, ensuring that no one is left behind in this digital era. As we embark on this journey, I'm filled with optimism and enthusiasm. This conference is not just an event. It is a platform for driving meaningful change. It represents our collective commitment to building a future where education and skills are democratized, where technology empowers rather than excludes, and opportunities are accessible to everybody. Let's move forward with determination and collaboration, knowing that the seeds we plant today will grow into a more equitable and inclusive tomorrow. Thank you once again. I look forward to the insights, innovations, and partnerships that will emerge from this gathering. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Datye. Yes, Ms. Narang, we'd love to hear from you too.
Good morning, am I clear? Okay. I don't think I have that much to say on education. My background is corporate India. Corporate India, including the Tatas that I worked for like over 35 years, has always been at the forefront of inclusion, diversity. So I'm coming from a reason as to why I think a conference like this is important. It's because culturally, we are not very good at working with each other. Maybe that's like a horrible thing to say. Because I remember when Bill Gates came to India for this Giving Foundation, nobody signed up, right? Because nobody signed up because they didn't want to give money, they wanted to do something. So from there, the idea of another conference was born, and he came back again and partnered with Wipro, and we did a conference on water, where we had, I think, all the global houses there. And everybody stood up there and said what they did. And there was a lot of work being done, but if you were an observer, you saw there was a lot of reinvention of the wheel. Everybody was doing the same thing, but they weren't reaching out to each other to say, can we stop reinventing the wheel? It already exists. Can we just learn from each other? And like I think the earlier speaker said, this conference is going to play a huge role, I think, in making sure that all of you speak to each other, all of you know what's happening, and perhaps from this conference some partnerships will be born. So I think that is the reason that we are all here today. I think the other important reason is the timing, and this is again for me personal, I'm not talking about technology. I think India is at a critical juncture where our unemployment levels are high. And it's not only that the unemployment levels are high, we also know that we have underemployment in rural areas. I was reading something that Haryana's number are as high as 37%. These are government statistics. This could be wrong. But it just shows that with aspirations growing, with access to social media, I'm surprised that we live in a country with such little social unrest. If we don't tackle this problem of employment, something is going to happen in our country very soon. And the reason this is important is this conference is that to be able to tackle this, we need to, of course, there is unemployment because there are not enough jobs. But there's also unemployment because people are not employable because of the skills that they have. It's very difficult to do physical scaling of employable skills. It'll just take too long in India to get there. And I'll give you an example, and I think our TIS colleague was going to say the Tatas have been working with TIS for a long time in skilling, and people from the Taj hotels have been involved in this venture. I spoke to one of them as recently as last night, and I said, where are you at? And he said, we are building physical infrastructure. Now, this is not an individual Tata company, but from Tata Sons, both in Ahmedabad and Bombay. And I said, how many jobs? This is now for advanced manufacturing skilling and now the hotel industry. He said, we'll be able to do maybe a year and a half later, once the construction is over, 10,000 jobs per year at each center. Now, when you look at that, it's admirable because it'll be important skills, but whether the Tatas, the Birlas, the Modis, Capgemini, all of them put together, it's not going to be enough to solve our problem, and therefore, the need for this conference to come up with, obviously, technology solutions, but how do you get those technology solutions to the diverse parts of India? I think the what is known to everybody. It's the how, and can we execute really rapidly, and can it be scaled to requirement? The other reason I think it's important at this juncture, I think we all know our women participation rates are low. They've also been falling. If we add women to our force, I mean, there are enough statistics on how much it'll add to India's GDP. But more important than that is that educated women will lead to educated children. And that, whether they run their own enterprise, which everybody is doing, is the only way to get them to get this education quickly is through digital. It's very difficult to reach such a diverse set of women across rural India, even if urban is possible through physical, to get this done. And that's why I think it's important. The other reason I think it's important is, to me as an individual, it seems such a wasted opportunity. We're a digital country. I mean, we are now one of the most advanced digital economies in the world. Everybody has seen Aadhaar, right? I think it's 900 million. We've all seen our access to internet. We've seen our access to digital banking. All this has happened in the last decade. Now we have this, what I call prasad. We have the infrastructure. We just need to figure out, and she mentioned this earlier, is how do we get the tools across? Because the biggest challenge is perhaps, as mentioned earlier, it's the tools, right? We have phones, may not be smart. We have internet, it may not be high speed. We have content. It may not be content which is fun to learn. It may not be content which is certified by somebody where I can actually get a job. How do we get this done quickly? Who are the people in India who are going to provide this content? I've done a lot of work on digital content across my career from when I was with the Taj and then I was on the board of AU Bank. It's not easy. Companies still today are doing their own classroom training. So when you are doing classroom training and not digital training across the world, it means even in corporate India, part of our training is physical in nature. We need to transform learning and how do we make it fun to be able to do this. I'm not focusing on youth, which is, and children education, which is today's focus, largely because I don't have the expertise to talk to you. I don't work with youth today. I worked with youth when I was at the Taj, and I know it's important to reach every corner of India and to be able to access people you want to recruit. So it's not even digital education. How do you digitally access the people you want to recruit? I'm an advisor to EduBridge, one of the sponsors of the company. And I must say the hardest thing we found, and we haven't been profitable, is how do you access somebody has a basic education somewhere in the world, tell him to come and do a course, get him to pay a little bit for the course and then get a job. It's not profitable. To be able to make it profitable, you need to scale, you need CSR support and a lot of other things. So it's not just giving the education, it's also how do we find the people who have or desire or want the education to be able to do this. So I'm hoping this conference will put together some of those things. And like I said, I'm not going to talk about education, but I will talk about my personal experience. I think at the end of this, if we can just get people who are ready, and this is a passion for me, who are ready to believe that I don't need an engineering degree, I don't need a medical degree, can I get some vocational skilling? And how does this group of people make that possible? How do we change mindsets of parents to ensure that they don't say getting a degree in school? So I think the purpose is digital education, and we all know there's a digital divide, but there's also an equal problem of how do we address our cultural mindset that people actually want skilling education, which is vocational. They're not necessarily looking for digital education to get degrees. There's a way to do many things without getting degrees, but we don't believe that we want to be plumbers, electricians. And there's also a tough job is, how do you train somebody to be a plumber, an electrician digitally? Is there enough content so he doesn't physically need to be in a classroom to understand how to unscrew a tap? So the problem is much larger. I think we're just at the tip of the iceberg when we talk about this digital divide. There's so many layers of what India wants to achieve, and I think we're not very clear on what we want. We know we want to achieve this digital democratization. We want everybody to get a job. I don't think we're very clear as to where all these jobs will come from, and even if they come from, how do we get our parents to understand, please don't force your kids to go to college necessarily. If there's another way to earn a living which will make a contribution to you and your family. I may be getting a little away from the topic because there's going to be discussion on how do we get there, but I thought it was important to understand why the criticality of this timing of this conference and what we expect to get from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Narang. May I please request Professor Sarangapani to please take the stage? We'd love to hear from you, ma'am.
First of all, I should welcome you all to TISS. We're delighted to be co-hosting this conference along with EduBridge, SRF Foundation, and Capgemini. It's an important conference for us because it brings together the kinds of stakeholders that TISS immensely values. As an 85-year-old institution that is dedicated to working in the social sector and especially developing both professionals and professionalizing work in the social sector, as well as bringing deep, concerned understanding of what the social is and what the national development needs are, We have always partnered with organizations such as yours, and we have been a part of the journeys of some of you at least who are sitting in this hall. So we're really very pleased that both as stakeholders with whom we are engaged, as well as alumni of this same institution, many of you are here with us today. The Center of Excellence in Teacher Education came into existence in TIS as a group sometime in the 2014-15, when in fact a group of us working in education came together to begin to think about the use of technology to address some of India's pressing problems in underserved areas, working with secondary school students, with teachers, and evolving a proactive response to using technology in the field and not reducing either teachers or students to becoming consumers of things that the industry was simply putting out there. So this group came together at that time, and we have forged our understanding of both technology use as well as what is worth doing in education, drawing from some of our experiences of that time. I will in a moment speak about that. But since then, the center has grown, and today we are a group of about 14 faculty, over 100 research associates and field associates, working in 6 research groups, which includes educational technology, inclusive education, work in pedagogy and curriculum, as well as work on education policy and practice. Some of the things that we are concerned about in education is thinking about innovation and developing both the art and the science of what is possible to do, and developing the imagination of what is possible to do. And we do think that democratizing quality is the heart of enabling education to achieve its transformative potential that is the promise of education. Democratizing access without quality not only doesn't serve its promise, but in fact it often ends up producing educational bads instead of producing educational goods. And I'm sure many of you in your own personal journeys, as well as in the lives of young people around you, know that miseducation can be debilitating, just as good quality education can be enormously empowering. So that is the promise with which we think it's important for us to proactively shape the educational landscape of India, and especially for the kinds of groups that we are together concerned about. In 2015, we were one of those few education research groups in the university that had this amazingly rare opportunity to proactively forge the direction in which we wanted technology to grow. And that was a point of time in which we were optimistic about technology use, because it was offering us the possibility of communication and interaction, which were not core features of technology before that. It was more widely accessible, the internet was penetrating, and we could boldly go to state governments and say, if you want your students and teachers to learn from technology, please don't just put TVs in the classroom and beam classes in. Give students access to devices. Reactivate the computer labs which have already been put in the school, and let both teachers and learners together learn to use technology and learn through technology in a hands-on mode. And it is with that confidence that this is worth doing and possible to do at scale that we actually began our work with many state governments in this country. And nothing in our experience has persuaded us that we were wrong about those assumptions. If anything, we've realized how important it is and how this should be the cornerstone of technology democratization in the country. Along with this, which means access to powerful devices, access to powerful experiences, the teacher needs to be respected as a professional and as an autonomous practitioner, fully capable of realizing the potential of the medium and making informed judgments of how much and when to integrate technology into her classroom, using it to promote active learning. And I think these experiences over the last more than 8 to 10 years have convinced us that this is a journey worth doing. And a lot of the scaling questions of India are going to be addressed if we speak about technology like this and not simply talk about using more and more technology in the school. JP Nayak spoke about this elusive triangle of quality, equality, and quantity. And when he wrote this really important book in the 1970s, he was asking himself this question of how can we increase access to quality while not and doing it at scale. And I do think that today, along with technology use, but not only through technology use, some of the answers to that question are beginning to emerge. And this conference is important because I think all of us who are here together in this room share these commitments of how technology will achieve its transformative potential, how it will increase access to quality, and what our collective understanding is of what constitutes quality in education. There were already references to the pandemic, and I think that has again been a very important moment in our collective lives of both understanding how technology enabled us to navigate a very complex period of crisis, but it also enabled us to understand its limits. We knew what it was good at doing, and we also understood firsthand what it was really bad at doing, and what kind of experiences simply didn't make sense with technology. And I think that experience has been enormously important for all of us. I think we less glibly speak about content delivery today. We know so much more the role that teachers need to play in enabling even online experiences to come alive for the learner. We know how we all switch off and how difficult it is for the online medium to hold our attention, which is almost like the basic input of a valuable educational experience. So today, when I go and speak about powerful technology use with state governments, with bureaucrats, I actually find the ground much more ready to receive these complex messages. And I don't feel hesitant to convey the importance of building complex systems and the possibility of building complex systems to address these core problems of education. I think all of us also understand that the use of technology has deeply transformed the nature of society and social relationships. Many of us who are teachers in schools and in higher education classrooms know that the COVID experience of our learners has somehow changed them. And we are struggling to figure out what the meaning of this change is and how to work with it. And I think today, now at this third technology moment in the last decade, the entry of AI and the widespread access to the digital is drawing our attention to the need to understand the cultural transformation that is going on through this pervasive access and experience of technology. And I think collectively we should be thinking about technology and its usage with all these complex dimensions. Truly, we're entering into a period in which we don't fully understand what it is that learners are bringing in, and what are we doing with learners when we give them access to technology of this kind. So I hope collectively, along with the important themes of today and tomorrow, we will also begin to deliberate about this cultural transformation our society is undergoing, and be a little bit more confident that we will be able to engage with and shape the direction as technology and its usage penetrates further. At the center, my colleagues, especially those who have been involved with organizing this conference, Dr. Amina Charania, Dr. Anil Memon, and others who are in the Educational Technology Research Group, we have had this amazing opportunity along with the Delta 21 project supported by Capgemini to work with children, to work with teachers, and to bring technology alive in their lives. And I think that this opportunity has been important because as an institute of higher education, as a university, we have not only been able to figure out what kinds of practices are valuable to develop, how to use technology in complex and, in contexts of socially underprivileged groups, but we have also been able to research these processes and bring that learning back into the system of higher education. And I truly value, and I am greatly encouraged by your willingness to partner with the university and to support a research agenda along with the intervention agenda. Because we know that generating knowledge about use is as important as generating valuable practices of use. And I think the Education Technology Group at the center has shown that this research is important globally. Publications and research coming out of this work have made it to international journals and into books. And we are today regarded internationally as a group that knows about technology use in global southern contexts, and our expertise is deeply valued. For this, we are grateful to you, to the Tata Trust and other such CSR who have supported us in developing the practice of technology use, researching it, and learning how to communicate it and bring that knowledge back into the education ecosystem. I want to end with just a few thoughts about how much I value this conference happening at TISS, a university. Of course, TISS is truly unique. From my experience of many universities, I know that TISS fits the bill that I have always looked for as an education researcher, as a researcher in the social sciences, of not only researching and developing knowledge, but also engaging with the field and understanding how this knowledge is relevant to the larger national development agenda. This is important because definitely as a researcher, I have benefited from this valuable ability to have one foot in academia and one foot on the ground in the field. But I also think it's very important because it is in the university that the professionals of tomorrow are being created. It is through the university that the teachers of tomorrow are being educated. So what we are able to achieve here, the values, the ethos, the understanding that we are able to generate at the university directly has an enormous relevance to how tomorrow will look like. So I am greatly enthused that we are able to co-host this event along with all of you. I'm really grateful that we have been able to bring such a diverse group into the space of the university and to engage colleagues and students in the university with this dialogue, which is going to shape tomorrow's future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor. It's amazing to hear you. Yes, Mr. Ram, please do come and address our audience. Thank you.
Good morning, friends. Greetings to the dignitaries on the stage, Ms. Chitra Datye from Capgemini, Ms. Padma Sarangapani from the Tata Institute of Social Sciences, and Ms. Jyoti Narang from EduBridge. Frankly, it's been extremely interesting listening to all of you. Much like Ms. Narang, I'm not from the education sector per se, but on the board of the SRF Foundation. But just listening to you, I actually have a lot of thoughts related to my own kids in terms of education, what's happened to them, especially through the COVID years, that I would actually like to talk about. I'm going to leave a lot of my speech alone because that was a standard speech that Suresh Reddy wrote for me. And I come back to parts of it, Suresh, don't worry. Just to share a little bit of a background, I'm from a business family from India. My great-grandfather, Sir Shriram, started the Shriram College of Commerce. He started Lady Shriram College. My late mother started the Shriram School. So we've always had an interest in starting good educational institutions, which were never for making money. These are all CSR entities. But quality education is something that we believed was required by the country, and we've been doing this for a long time. A lot of the points that were raised, I really could relate to them, whether it is talking about skilling that Ms. Narang talked about and what the need of the country is from that perspective, or a lot of what Ms. Sarangapani also talked about. And I'll just share this with you that during COVID, for example, I saw my kids went on to online education. Firstly, credit to the tech companies, to educational institutions, etc., that they were all able to provide a platform and adapt as fast as they did to provide the sort of education that our kids continued from the more elite schools and private schools to continue to have during the COVID years. The whole concept of what was spoken about of them staring at a screen for 5-6 hours a day, while there was a novelty factor to it to begin with, quickly wore out probably after a month or two. And then they used to struggle to actually stare at the screen beyond that. And I know that the school started giving them the freedom, okay, you can switch off your camera. And once they were allowed to switch off the camera, they were doing other things. So I don't know about, when we talk about democratization of education, whether education can fully go on to a digital form. I think it's a great supplementary tool that teachers can have to make education interesting, to provide the content that they don't themselves necessarily have. But I do believe it's a supplementary tool rather than necessarily the primary tool of teaching children education. On the other hand, when I look at my own staff's kids who staff at home, their kids were learning of not computers but of mobile phones, and they go to government schools. And I saw the sort of struggle that they were going through during the COVID time. Firstly, they didn't all have smart devices, so we gave them our old phones, etc. We gave them our old iPads so that they could study. But the problem didn't really end there. The teacher from the government schools, even though they were given a platform through which they could teach, and most of them were actually teaching through YouTube and nothing more sophisticated like Teams or Zoom or anything else like that, struggled to just get used to the medium of teaching through such a digital platform. They didn't know how to interact with kids in such a platform. They didn't know how many kids were attending. And obviously, when you're looking at that sort of demographic, the number of kids attending the classes itself was far fewer. So I think there is a lot that needs to be done in this area in terms of democratizing education, in terms of ensuring how it can be a good supplementary education to kids everywhere across the country. I do believe it's a great opportunity, but we need to figure out how to do it in a hybrid manner, which could be useful to the kids. Obviously, again, I think somebody raised the point, the quality of teachers that we have across the various schools. Again, private schools may have good quality teachers, but I know for a fact that I interacted with an education secretary from one of the states, and that person mentioned to me that we have to hire 10,000 government teachers every year. They said the quality of teachers, when we are hiring 10,000, how can we even check the quality of that teacher? All that we are seeing is that they have a B.Ed degree and we go ahead and hire them. But we have no idea about the efficacy or the means or the methods of their teaching. So unfortunately, unless we actually concentrate on that, maybe the digital aspect of it can actually come in and help those teachers become better teachers. I don't know. These are things that need to be figured out. But I do believe this is something very important for our country when we have the population that we do, when we have the number of kids that we do. Getting this education out to them is imperative. I'm going to come back to my speech a little bit, otherwise Suresh will kill me. So I have to talk a little bit about the SRF Foundation. The SRF Foundation has been at the forefront of several successful initiatives. Our education program has transformed more than 500 government schools across 34 locations in 13 Indian states, improving learning outcomes for over 180,000 students by imparting training to more than 4,500 teachers and school headmasters. So we have actually been working on the training of teachers and headmasters because we believe that the administration of these schools is as important. We have also been working on bridging the digital divide between rural and urban India through innovative methods, ensuring that learning never stops. Our vocational and digital skills programs have trainings have been imparted to over 17,000 women and youth at more than 40 centers, with more than 80% of learners gainfully being engaged. One of the most notable collaborations has been with Capgemini, a partnership that began in 2016. Together, we have embarked on a journey to enhance digital literacy and education for underserved communities. This collaboration has been instrumental in bridging the digital divide and providing equitable access to quality STEM, future skills education, and skilling opportunities. To bridge the digital divide, we have established Tinker Coding Labs in 11 locations in India in partnership with Capgemini to enhance digital literacy among the underserved communities. We are also nurturing 120 ATL labs and 14 ACICS set up by Niti Aayog in 6 states powered by Capgemini. Additionally, the foundation runs Smart Shiksha mobile digital labs across 9 locations, offering a mobility solution to bridge the divide in rural locations. I think the next 2 days is going to be very interesting because amongst the various things that have been raised by the panelists, I think these discussions are going to be important in deciding how digital education can really play a role in enhancing the quality of overall education in India. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ram. Come on, guys, a big round of applause for our panelists. Thank you so much. I'd like to now call Dr. Reddy to please felicitate our guests. Come on, everyone, a big round of applause for their thought-provoking and impactful contributions and for setting the stage for us to start this two-day conference. Thank you, Dr. Reddy. We felicitate Ms. Datye. Thank you so much. Come on. Thank you, Ms. Narang. We appreciate you being here with us. Thank you, Professor. It was amazing listening to you. Oh, we're a little low on energy, aren't we, today? Thank you, Mr. Ram. We appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. A big thank you to all of our panelists. Thank you so much for joining us on stage. We'll take a quick group photo, everybody. Can we take a quick picture? Dr. Reddy, you can join us on the stage. In the picture, you can come. Girish, why don't you join us on stage as well? Girish, come. Why don't you join us on stage as well? Yes? Remy? Dr. Ramaya, please come. Yes, doctor, please. Why don't you join us? Come. It's just going to take a minute. Come on. It'd be great. And you're looking so pretty as well. So the picture's going to come nice, isn't it? Come on, round of applause, please. Come.